Good evening and welcome. I am Lisa Rayam, your moderator for the evening, and I am host and senior producer of WABE's Morning Edition. Tonight's forum is an opportunity for you to introduce yourselves to the voters in Sandy Springs and shed light on your platform. Now, this is not a debate where you openly challenge your opponent, but again, it's a forum to let the voters know who you are and, more importantly, what you stand for. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the two panelists who will be asking the tough questions this evening. First, we have Amy Wenk, editor of Reporter newspapers, including the Sandy Springs Reporter, and Tammy Joyner, democracy reporter for Atlanta Civic Circle. Welcome to both of you. Now, before we begin, we'd like you, the District 1 candidates, to introduce yourselves. You'll have 1 minute each, and please note you are being timed closely, and there is a little blue timer on your screen there. Megan Harris, we'd like to begin with you.
Good evening. My name is Megan Harris. I'm a Georgia native who graduated from Dunwoody High School, went on to get my BA in finance, and then after my master's in business administration. Sandy Springs has been my home for over 10 years and has afforded me the great experience of being a first-time homeowner and a local business owner. I work for one of the largest banks in the United States, went on to become a senior advisor at a planning firm, local, and then now independent. I like to bring experience. I like to bring an even experience to all Sandy Springs, all the Sandy Springs and residents. That also means creating connections amongst everyone throughout Sandy Springs. Constituents feel informed about about issues and concerns that
Megan Harris, it's great to have you this evening. Thank you. John Paulson, our second candidate, please introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is John Paulson. I'm the current District 1 representative for Sandy Springs, and I'm running for this seat again. I've been with the city, this is my 12th year. We've done a lot of things over the last 12 years. We'll get into that maybe a little bit later, but that includes things like a new fire station, a new park in District 1, as well as the Georgia 400 flyover, which I managed to talk the DOT into putting it underneath the bridge. So a lot of construction. There's more construction coming. We've got T-Splosh we've got to finish. As an engineer, I'm a big proponent of getting my hands in the middle of this, and I do. I enjoy working with the staff in the city to try to make things better. I've improved the city. I think I've improved the city and saved them some money. So look forward to 4 more years of that.
Mr. Paulson.
Yes, ma'am.
No, you can continue. You have 15 seconds. I'm sorry.
I have 15 more seconds. God, I talked too fast. A lot of challenges in the city, but again, a lot of good things we've done. So stay tuned. I'm interested in the questions and the answers, and hopefully serving you again for another 4 years.
Mr. Paulson, thank you so much. Now for the forum. You'll be asked a total of 2 questions by our panelists, and then I'll ask one based on questions the public submitted in advance. Both of you will have 1 minute to answer each question. Tammy will ask the first question. Tammy?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. The redevelopment in the city's north end is a key issue affecting District 1. What's the best way to achieve redevelopment? And I'll ask this question to Ms. Harris first.
Absolutely. One of the best ways to approach the redevelopment of the North End, which is actually right here where I am right now, is to make sure that our community feels heard and that their thoughts, concerns, their creative ideas are a part of the process. We've had town halls before, and we've had some reviews, but there's still some space where business owners don't know exactly how to plan going forward because they're not sure the employees that they employ here in Sandy Springs would afford to be able to stay here and work for them. So that's one of the issues that comes up in conversation. Also looking forward to be creative around housing in the north end. There's some space here for us to work within. We can also work on developments that are already existing. Instead of demolishing them, we can work with them on that as well. So I think there's a lot of different approaches here, but it always starts with the community first.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Ms. Paulson, I would say the same question. Redevelopment in the city's north end is a key issue affecting District 1. So I want to find out what's the best way to achieve redevelopment from your vantage point.
Thank you. So the city's been wrestling with this north end redevelopment for 8 or 9 years. And it's always a complex balance because the city doesn't actually own property up there. So what we're trying to do is figure out what we can do, as well as talk to the developers that own shopping centers up there. And we actually started a study last year that the city paid for to give these developers some ideas about ways that they could redevelop these 4 key shopping centers up in the north end to help become a catalyst project to stimulate the growth in the area. So that's one of the things we've done. I'm looking forward to seeing what these developers come back with. Obviously, it's their property, but they want to redevelop them as well. These shopping centers are older, so they want to bring them up and make them current. We have not get any plans for the redevelopment of any apartment complexes up there. There's a number of apartments in District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Paulson. Amy, you have the next round of questioning.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. This question is first for Mr. Paulson. What does the city need to do to ensure housing is affordable for low and middle income residents?
Thank you. Great question. So this is a challenge that Sandy Springs faces. This is a challenge that the city of Atlanta faces. That's actually, it is a nationwide challenge. So the question is, how do we have responsible redevelopment? Don't move people out. You know, there's a lot of developments where there's some pretty expensive apartments going in, and that just displaces people. We as a city have stayed away from that. We're trying to encourage developers to redevelop these shopping centers into both combination of housing as well as office space, as well as some commercial, to try to, I guess, to spur them on to bring a mixed use redevelopment that may help alleviate the housing. We do some things for our police and fire. Many of them can't live in the city, but there are a number of them that do live in the city, and we're working with them. But it's just a challenge, and figuring out where the taxpayer money ends and the developer ends is a challenge.
Thank you. And Ms. Harris, what should the city do to ensure that housing is affordable to low and middle income residents?
Absolutely. Well, I would like to see my storyline be able to be duplicated here in the Sandy Springs. I went from being a renter in Sandy Springs to being a homeowner over 10 years ago. And that was that's a big milestone in anyone's life. And as far as the approach, outside of just having conversation, we really can utilize tools we have, just looking into inclusionary zoning, examining our parking requirements, also, making sure that when we are in the development process for multifamily housing, there are a lot of creative approaches that have a light footprint on the green space, but also can contribute, keeps the price point lower for our first-time home buyers. So we can hear that echoed in the community more, whether it's a starter family or a part of our seasoned aging population as well. That is something that's on everyone's mind. And that could also help with the rental rates too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, both of our candidates there. This next question is from the public. What would you like to be remembered for as a public servant? What would you like to be remembered for as a public servant? Mr. Paulson, we'll begin with you.
Thank you. Service has been a part of my life since high school. When I was involved with the Red Cross, I served in the military. I've served on the city council, and trying to make the community better is what drives me. I'm old enough that I don't have to work. I enjoy doing this. I work with veterans, so I provide service to veterans as well. I want to be remembered as somebody that helped to make people's lives better. And that can be in our community. Sometimes saving money on a project can make lives better, and hopefully I'll be remembered for monies that I save, but also touching somebody's life and making their life better. And again, I do a lot of work with veterans where just basic budgeting is something that isn't done. I want to be remembered as somebody that, again, has made the community better and has made individuals that live in our community better.
Mr. Paulson,
That's
thank
it.
you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Harris, we'll have you answer the question as well.
Great. So my platform's accessibility, transparency, and budgeting. And out of those three, I would say the one thing I want to be remembered best for is accessibility. I'm a financial professional. I have hard conversations every day, and we're talking about money matters, and it makes you get in your feelings. So it makes us closer when we can relate to each other. And one of the best ways to relate to each other is making sure that our partners, our neighbors, our residents here are feeling like they're heard, and not just heard, but what they're saying is being implemented in the solution that they can see for themselves. And that means you have to be accessible to have those conversations. People have to know where you are. They'd be able to pick up the phone and give you a call, and you'll be right there. And that's what I would like to be remembered most as. And with that comes transparency, because when you're out there talking, it's hard to hide when you're in front of somebody, right? So we have developed better transparency. Thank you.
Thank you both for answering that. Time flies, doesn't it? That concludes the District 1 Forum. We want to thank you for being here and sharing your views. Now, you both get 30 seconds for closing remarks. Ms. Harris, we'll begin with you.
Great, thank you very much. So one of the things I had mentioned before is I want to say thank you to all my neighbors for encouraging me and promoting me here. I look forward to working side by side with you and making sure that all your dreams here in Sandy Springs manifest to the best of their ability. I'm asking for your vote, and I'm really looking forward to being your future councilwoman to represent District 1. I want to gather young professionals, our aging population, and our starting families together. Solution.
Ms. Harris, thank you. John Paulson, 30 seconds for closing remarks.
Thank you. We've accomplished a lot in the last 12 years during the time I've been on the council, but there's much more to be done. I think as a city, one of the things that I strive to do is come up with smart solutions, solve a problem smartly. This is the engineer in me. I want to try to save money, but I want to pick the best solution we can. And I apply that logic to a bunch of different things, whether it's traffic and the smart technology, to smart building codes, to good police and fire support. All of that is good.
Mr. Paulson, John Paulson, Megan Harris, you are the candidates for District 1. We thank you so much for taking the time to share your platform with us. Thank you so much for joining us.